and welcome to another Plim Talks book launch party. I am here to celebrate the reaping as the harvest comes fallow. Oh, I shouldn't have used that word. Carson, you're a bad influence. But I'm here to celebrate Carson Winters, my co-host and for the Dead Languages podcast, and a talented author in his own right. And his new book, which is out literally today, A Spectre is Haunting Greentree. Carson Winter, huzzah!
Thank you so much, Plem. It is an honor to be here. And Jeff, thank you for the corn.
Yes, thank you for the corn. Jeff actually did a handout candy corn at StokerCon in little pill bottles. It was a great marketing technique.
I remember that, and I brought it home, and my dear cousin wife loved it. She thought that was one of the coolest things ever. I showed her the pill bottle. She just thought that was so delightful. So she was a fan.
I actually didn't eat it because I thought it was too cute. So I just have it like on a shelf.
And then during our next lovemaking session, Jeff, I role played as you banging her. So you're intertwined with our relationship now.
You know, if I ever had a chance to get my YouTube monetized, I can promptly say it would be demonetized again at this point. So thank you, Carson Winter.
This is the wrong event to monetize.
So I have done quite a few of your events, and usually what happens is I ask if I can use your website bio, and you're always like, no, that's super out of date. I really need to update it. It's been like years in the making. So you actually did send me an up-to-date one. So thank you.
Yeah, let's see what I said.
So Carson First Draft Winter is an award-winning author, punker, and raw nerve. His fiction has been featured in Apex, Visterion, Tales to Terrified, and Your Wet Dreams.
Yep.
The Guts of Myth was published in Volume 1 of Dreadstone Press's Split Screen series. His novel, The Psychographist, out now, from Apocalypse Party Press, has now got a film option. His novella, Soft Targets, along with Post Haste Manor, co-written by Jolie Tumajan, who's in chat right now, are available from Tenebrous Press, and he co-hosts the horror writing craft podcast Dead Languages with me.
Yeah, and if you guys aren't already listening to the Dead Languages podcast, I honestly have no idea how you ended up at this event.
Yeah, it's a great podcast. Obviously because we're on it.
It's like the first 5 minutes of this event, but it's actually an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah,
so.
usually, the episodes can be a little long.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're here to celebrate Carson's newest book, A Spectre is Haunting Greentree. Here's most of the cover. This is the part I made up for the event.
That's me in the corn.
Yeah, that's you in the corn. What
Just
are you going to do with that finger? Yeah, sewing with that fingy.
We talked about this. I was gonna bite it seductively in my latex pants and kind of play coy, kind of we'll walk out, you'll watch me with my swinging hips come out the leave, and then you're gonna I'm gonna turn around, bite my finger and be like, nah.
Oh no.
And that's like my vibe. That's kind of my atmosphere.
So coy, so shy. LT says, I won this book from Goodreads already, so you aren't getting any of my hard-earned money. Hell yeah, brother.
Motherfucker.
Congrats on winning the Goodreads giveaway, though. That's really cool.
Yeah, you're like 1 in 100 then.
Matt says, you need to print this and sell it. You mean this?
Who's gonna fucking buy that, Matt?
Yeah, Matt, apparently.
Okay.
Elle says Carson of the Corn. No, so true though.
There we go. I like that. Carson of the Corn. That's great.
Jolie says, yeah, buy the book we wrote together too. Buy several copies. Absolutely. I really loved Post Haste Manor. Again, if you haven't seen the release party, it's a lot of fun. They actually designed a personality quiz for it, so you can take the quiz.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. And they both do readings. So this is my YouTube channel. So you just go to the launch party. And you can find it there. Plus any other event I did with Carson, because there was a lot.
I just pop up everywhere. I'm kind of a fungus on Plem's career.
The fungus on the corn, because corn.
And Jolie's, actually.
Yeah, and Jolie's. I found my copy in the forest on a tree stump next to a soggy nudie magazine, left the nudie magazine for someone else. I mean, you should have taken it. That's probably some sort of blessed magazine.
That's part of Tenebris's marketing strategy is we just go into the woods, find ancient waterlogged penthouses from the 80s, and then stuff a copy in there for
So
youngsters
good.
to find.
Bless, bless that harvest. Okay. So we're gonna do the interview first, and then oh yeah, we have three giveaways, pretty big. The first two giveaways are for a copy of the book. Are they signed, Carson?
Probably not because they're coming direct from Tenebris, and I do not live near Tenebris anymore.
Oh yeah, that's a bummer. But if you go to a book event where Carson's at, you can force him to sign it, so that's also good.
Or better yet,
Um,
just sign it yourself. That's cool.
yeah, I mean, Carson, what does your signature look like? Can you just mime it on screen
Just
right
kind
now?
of, rah.
Okay, so just like pause that and do that. And then the third one is the biggest giveaway. It's actually all of Carson's Tenebris books
Yeah,
and a limited edition patch inspired by this guy here. My finger.
yeah.
Yeah.
Spooky Scarecrow patch. Put it on your
Yes.
battle vest when you're throwing down in the pit, as I'm sure all of you guys are. It's a great accoutrement to any denim.
Yeah. Matt asks, is this third giveaway that poster? Okay, Matt, if you win the third giveaway, I will print this off and just mail it to you. I will sign it on the bottom. You like it so much. I I thought it was funny. I remember I was designing it and I was like, Carson's either gonna love this or think I'm so stupid.
Plem, it can be both.
Wow. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hit end. Um,
Fair,
okay,
fair.
let's do the interview first and then we can do our first giveaway.
Yeah,
Fun.
let's get this over with, right?
Hell yeah. Okay. So I've interviewed you a lot at this point, I feel like. So we always start off with a pretty standard question. Can you tell us a little bit about what a Spectre is haunting Greentree is about, as spoiler free as possible?
Yeah. So the book follows a woman named Carina who is getting out of a bad relationship with an abusive man named Steve Calico. She has an old friend that she knows from college. She's kind of living this better version of her life where she's got like a really nice husband, big house, a kid, kind of the dream and stuff. And she's in Oregon. She's invited over to this little town called Greentree, where it's kind of like this kind of represents like a haven for her. But the town's a little fucking weird because this is, a horror novel. So it's everyone's rich, which is kind of strange. Everyone goes to this local video store that seems to be thriving. It's like the only place in America that has a thriving video store with a very strange adults only section. And also, the town is obsessed with scarecrows. There's tons of scarecrows in the cornfields surrounding the town. And as the story develops, a revolution begins to stir.
Uh, Andy Thomas says, Greentree sounds like my kind of place. I think they were sold on the adult only section of the video store.
Okay.
That would be my
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
That's right.
So this uh I thought of an off the cuff question. This is a dead languages question.
Okay.
How much cum is in this versus the psychographist out now?
You know what? I think this is actually a cum-free novel.
Oh my God. A Carson Comfrey winter novel?
I'm thinking back of all the places there could be cum in this
Yeah.
novel, and I don't think so. And I feel like if you did like a control F for cum psychographist, like it's surprising how much there is. But this one's not a very sexy book. This is more of a I would say this is more has more of a emotional center than a lot of ropes being shot.
Great. Awesome. Well, if I wasn't going to get demonetized before, I am now.
Hmm.
Adjust James. I thought each copy in the giveaway was going to have a fresh meat slap on the cover page.
Oh,
I
okay.
will accept a tribute slap from the publisher, though.
Okay. Yeah, I'll ask Matt. I have no idea on his circumcision situation,
Okay.
But I'll get you those details in email if you are a winner, just so you can know exactly what kind of meat is slapped upon it when it arrives.
Perfect. Perfect. Then uh L praise sweet baby scarecrow. Annie, no ropes, I'm out. Julie just with the corn emoji. That's all that needs to be said, essentially. So, can you tell us a little bit more about the inspirations behind like what went on with the writing of this?
Okay, yeah. So this is where it gets less cum related and more
Okay.
serious is that when
Wow. Okay.
I yeah, let me turn my chair around and talk to you guys about Jesus Christ.
Okay,
Uh
I'm ready. Say no to
no,
drugs.
so like I don't know, probably like 7 or 8 years ago, I started having really scary problems with my heart. Like it was just jackhammering out of nowhere. I was feeling constantly faint. And I did not know what was going on because I never, I was like 27 or whatever. When you're 27, you don't really have problems with your body. You're not aware of like the machinations and shit of, the human body. Your lungs work, you don't think about it. Your heart works, you don't think about it. But, I was starting to think about it a lot because there was something going on with me and I just didn't know what it was. So, I ended up going to the ER because I was feeling really dizzy, really faint, and I just couldn't work. And I was just constantly feeling like, tingles across my body, everything. And they kind of gave me the runaround. They gave me something to wear on my heart or on my chest for like a month. And eventually I got it solved, and it wasn't something significantly dangerous or anything. It was pretty benign. It was just what they call supraventricular tachycardia, which basically just means my heart has like a short circuit in it where it beats really fast and has a arrhythmia for no reason. And which is kind of an annoying problem because it does nothing but scare you. It doesn't really harm you, but it just scares the shit out of you. So after that, I developed health anxiety, hypochondria. So I went to like the ER at least 7 times within the next year. Luckily, I had great insurance at this time, so it wasn't too bad. But I was constantly just having this fear, like, oh my God, I'm feeling my heart rate. I'm feeling something in my chest, and like, this is the big one. This is the fucking big one. I'm going down. I'm going to die in my 20s. And I was so confident of this fact. And it was something that was just constantly recurring. I developed like a weird kind of tick where I was like constantly feeling my pulse all the time. And it just became kind of like my wife would be like, oh yeah, he's going through it because he's constantly doing this. So I really struggled with that. And like before I was, I've been a writer since in my mid 20s, which means like most writers, I come with like the stock standard anxiety and depression. But this is the first time where I really felt like my anxiety was really tripping me up in regular life where I was actually struggling. So A Spectre is Haunting Greentree. I think it was really one of the first novels pieces I wrote that really dealt head on with anxiety. I kind of put up a shroud a little bit. I had Carina's anxiety be vastly different from me. She's escaping from an abusive ex. She's hearing footsteps and stuff and being afraid of someone coming for her. But a lot of the immediate panic and stuff was being filtered through that experience of my own experience. So that was really the heart of the story for me is that anxiety. And then the other kind of half of it, the more fun part was, me just going into a spirit Halloween, every year when like September or whatever hits and there's spooky stuff galore. It's our season as horror folks. You go around, you see the animatronics, the masks, all that cool shit. And I was looking and there was like a spooky scarecrow. And I'm just like, man, why isn't there more spooky scarecrows in media and stuff? Like there's not like a fucking Dracula or a Frankenstein of spooky scarecrows. I kind of started thinking more about scarecrows, what they represented to me as kind of like these unacknowledged laborers. And then it kind of connected to the anti-capitalist theme for me. And then then suddenly I had kind of the basics of the story forming within me. And that was kind of how Greentree got its start.
I find that so interesting that like you thought of them as like underappreciated workers because like as
Hmm.
soon as you said it, I was like, oh, that's true. They are just like working in the fields and like, you know, like with no pay and I would argue that the original spooky scarecrow is from Tales to Tell in the Dark. What was his name?
Okay.
Henry?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh my God, that is that story messed me up. It's Harold. Thank you, Jolie. Um
Oh, okay. Now I know
yeah,
what you're talking
Harold.
about. Yeah,
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 and
yeah.
he like, oh my God, it was terrifying as a kid to read that. I feel like he's the OG one. But I agree, like I feel like scarecrows have like such good like vibes around them to be able to create horror. I
Yeah,
mean, I
they're
used
just
one in
autumnal and
Sister,
stuff. It's
yeah,
cool.
like I used one in Sisters of the Crimson Vine as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
I feel like I also find them really inspiring, but like I didn't think of them as like, like these poor little workers who don't get any Christmas bonuses. Like that makes so much sense to me now.
Yeah, when I was a retail worker, that's probably just me projecting on everything. Or I like walk into a Spirit Halloween, see a Scarecrow animatronic, and I'm just like right there with you, man. I get it.
But it's so true. So when I was in college, I worked at a cafe for many years, and sometimes people would come in and they don't see you as human because you're behind the counter.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like, and it's that way for retail workers around the world. I feel like I had people who would come up and be like, "Hey, how are you? I'd like a tall black coffee." And I'm like, "There's no like," they just like go through the motions, but they don't actually want to hear about your day. They don't want any kind of conversation. And like I always found it kind of like demoralizing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Uh, Elle says, yes, we need more spooky scarecrows. Jeff also went to the ER for something similar. So, yeah,
My
definitely
condolences, Jeff.
frightening. Yeah. Matt says, what about the talking one from Wizard of Oz creeping on that kid? So uncool. Elle says, scary stories to tell in the dark with those OG Stephen Gamble drawings.
Yeah, those are sick.
Yes. Yeah. Jeff says, scarecrows were literally invented to cause fear, and that rules. Yeah, true. To scare
Me
away
too,
birds.
brother.
Yeah. Just James says Tales from the Crypt had a cool scarecrow episode, but it was a perv, I think, in the end. Oh, I don't know.
There's an 80s slasher movie that's really not good in any way. That's called like Scarecrows. That's just about like scarecrows run amok. And I don't even remember if there's a real reason why they're running amok. And I think it's actually even like yeah, I feel like it's a crime movie. Is that the one you've seen it, Jeff? Is that
Scarecrow
the one you're talking
versus
about?
bank robbers. Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
okay. Okay. Yeah, it was I didn't personally love it, but I did think the scarecrows were cool.
yeah. Uh, so I don't know if because we talk so much on dead languages, sometimes I have trouble remembering if you say this in public or not, or on an episode. But you said at one point like Spectre, Soft Targets, and the Psychographist are kind of like a loose trilogy based on the
Yeah.
anti-capitalism theme. So, can you go into why you write about that so often, like, and are so passionate about that as a theme? Because like it is a core theme through all three of them. If you haven't read any of the three, like I would recommend it. Soft Targets is kind of like the Columbine of office workers, I would say. Would you kind of say? Like,
Yeah, sure.
yeah. And then the Psychographist, of course, like we talk about it all the time. It's about like what a family will go to get money and like product testing, to put it simply.
Yeah.
And to put it
Very cum
simply,
heavy.
yeah.
Uh,
And then this one, of course, like Carson just went into like scarecrows being like these underappreciated workers. So can you go
mhm.
into like what drives you towards that theme so particularly?
Yeah, I think, especially during the time I was writing this, I was feeling kind of the full weight of kind of like my position in society because at the time I went to college very late in my like late 20s. So most of my 20s were spent just working kind of hourly wage jobs and stuff like that, in retail and everything. And especially during the pandemic, I felt like that really kind of ignited a really deep frustration within me because I was suddenly seeing like, you know, TikToks, YouTube videos, this whole other culture that I was not part of, which was just white collar culture of people like, oh, it sucks so bad. I can't go to work, but I get paid and I have to play board games all day. I have to learn a new skill to keep, my time filled. And it's like, I kind of wish I could like fuck off and learn piano or something right now. Instead, I was labeled an essential worker. So I feel like when you're looking for things to write about, you're just kind of pulling from your own experiences, your own emotions. And one of my uh biggest strongest drivers at that time was just this kind of frustration with like these two different worlds where I felt like I was struggling to make a future for myself because I wasn't making any like real money. Um, but I felt like there was so much more demanded of me also at the time. So yeah, and I felt like that really, I kind of attacked it from different angles in each of the books. Like I feel like Soft Targets was very much, um, the the first one I wrote, I think Greentree I actually wrote before the Psychographist. But so Soft Targets and Greentree kind of go hand in hand in that there's this frustration with capitalism, feeling like there's kind of this us versus them mentality, where the Psychographist I think is almost a little bit of a transition book because I wrote that while I was going to school for marketing and I was trying to sort through my feelings of being like this dude who, is really frustrated, angry, felt like I was put upon by capitalism, but also I was going into like one of the most capitalist sectors in work. My whole job training was learning how to sell things through content and stuff. So I think each of the books kind of have a different angle on it, but it becomes very easy to add those frustrations into a work of fiction when you're kind of working it out. And that's exactly what I was doing. I was just kind of working out my feelings.
I was actually, if you hadn't addressed it, I was going to ask you, like, having gone into a marketing degree, like, does it feel weird because you're part of like that, like a machine that kind of goes after people to buy things or to consume?
Hella,
So,
bro. But
yeah.
also, I'm lucky that in my day job I don't have to do that because what I do in my day job is I actually market like social services nobody has to pay for. They just help people. So that's kind of cool. My whole job is funded by grants, so I'm not like out there convincing kids to smoke cigarettes, at least during my day job. I do that on the weekends. Uh, just at a public park near you.
Yeah, trench coat,
Yeah,
Carson.
yeah.
Joseph Thomas asks, it says the Scarecrow episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark ruled. Jeff asks, have you seen the Dark Knight of the Scarecrow?
Yes, but so long ago. I need to check it out again.
And then Andy says, hell yeah, big tobacco. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Else, you gotta have that weekend side hustle. Ain't that right, Al? Ain't
That's
that
right.
right? Okay, next question. So, I'm sure a lot of people in the chat have read a lot of your books. I've read all three that I just mentioned in the previous question,
That's for
and
you.
yeah, sucks for me. When you gave me the Psychographist, you warned me. You're like, "This is the book I was telling you about with that scene," and I was like, "Oh, great."
At least I warned you.
You
That's
did. Thank you for
something.
that. Yeah, I went into it prepared emotionally, as
Okay.
much as you can be. So, Spectre is haunting Greentree's a pretty big tonal shift from the first
Hmm.
two, Soft Targets and the Psychographist. Both of those being very surreal and weird, but more, I guess, like rooted in, I guess, real life and more realistic settings versus the Spectre is very more on the pulp side and it's very folk horror. Um,
Yeah.
What inspired that change? Was it difficult to make that switch?
No, and I think that was kind of there was one other kind of angle on the influences that I didn't talk about as much earlier, but um when I was first getting into horror, I didn't really know where to start. And I'm talking about horror in books specifically, because I've been a fan of horror since I was a wee tyke. But
We baby Carson.
yeah, this little baby guy. I was like I was like a little like 4-year-old begging my mom to like rent The Wolf Man. That's literally I loved Universal horror movies. I used to go to the video store with a cape tucked into my pants under my shirt just because I felt like I always had to be dressed as Dracula because I was a huge dork.
Oh
Uh,
my God. It hasn't changed. Don't say past tense.
no,
You
no, no.
are a
I'm still a
huge
huge
dork.
dork. Now I do the much more mature thing and I wear a punk vest
There you
everywhere.
go.
Uh,
Yeah.
but when I first started getting into horror books, I didn't really know where to start. Undercover Dracula, it's hilarious, Jeff. Um, I so I started reading like a lot of extreme horror because in my kind of new to the horror literary world mind, it was more more horror, better horror. That it was like more extreme, more graphic, that equaled better or something. And that's what I was like, that must be what people take more seriously, and that's what I wanted to read. So like one of the first authors I really got into, and this is like cringy as hell, was like Richard Lehman, who
Okay.
is like the most like violent, misogynist 80s shitbag horror writer ever.
L is just no.
I know, L. It's brutal. And I just didn't know. I didn't know. And I was reading it. I'm like, well, this must be what good horror is, because this is what was recommended
Oh
on
God.
Reddit.
Not Reddit
And
recommendations.
I was reading it and I'm like, okay, people are saying literary horror is good. This must be on the literary end of the spectrum. That was how dumb I was. I thought like Richard Lehman was like this literary dude who's literally like just talking about, jacking off in his trench coat while cutting women up and shit. So I did not know much about books at that time.
L's just like an event for all, but
L, I don't even disagree. I don't even disagree.
Carson's reformed though, I swear.
Richard Lehman is not a good author, but in a weird way, he was a key influence on this book because I kind of there are patterns to Richard Lehman books in that, there's always a over the top like sadistic dude who but like is like beyond crazy, just insane, who is like doesn't operate at on any sensible level that like a human would. Like literally every child he sees is a potential victim. He just wanders through life being cruel, and it's very over the top. And I kind of for some reason that stuck with me, and I kind of took a little bit of that element in the character of Steve Calico in the book. And I wanted to play with kind of these pulpy tropes of like just extremity, but also grounding it more in like a character's personal journey. So what ended up happening is when I was writing it, I took a lot more influence from like 80s pulp, just kind of like fun paperback horror. Mostly just because I wanted to try something different and I wanted to kind of rifle different things I've read for influences than do like, a Ligotti pastiche or something, which I've done a lot of and I love because I love Ligotti. But yeah, yeah, I wanted to kind of experiment with different ideas.
So I had to share these with you. I don't know if you saw them. Else called you Punkula,
I love it.
and then Jeff says Tobacula.
Love it.
Yes, just and Eric
Great.
says layman to Ligotti. That's quite the journey.
Yes. That's my personal hero's journey.
Okay, we're gonna do the first giveaway.
Love it.
Hell yeah. Everyone hit me with those drums. Okay, I wanna, yeah, hit me with those drums. Okay.
That was me drumming.
Spin. Here goes the wheel. So the first giveaway is for the one copy of A Spectre is Haunting Greentree. I forgot that it collapsed, and that scared the shit out of me. Matthew Brandenburg. Yay!
Matt Brandenburg.
Congrats.
Second copy, mushroom stamped by Matt
There you
Blairstone.
go. There you go. Oh, Matt, I will send, you didn't win the bundle one, but I will still print this off and send it to you. Let me write your name down. I don't want people not to get, I don't want you not to get the poster that you love so much. Okay, I spelled your name wrong. Oh, you
Well,
already have the book?
he does say,
Okay.
do you want to pass it on to someone else, Matt? That's
Yeah, do
okay
you want to
too.
pass it? I'll still email you and I'll send you the password or
Pass it on.
the
Roll
poster. Blah.
again.
Okay, rolling it again. But yes, and after the event, I will contact the winners with the email that they used to register, and I'll put you in contact with Carson, who will handle all the shipping stuff. Okay. We've got a birthday boy winner. Can you guess who it is?
Like
Carson,
today
that's
is
you.
his
Yeah.
birthday or just
I
a
mean,
recent
no,
birthday?
recent.
Oh, it's got to be Eric McHatton then.
Yeah. Congrats, Eric. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
He has
God
the book
damn it,
too.
Eric.
Does anybody not have the book in here?
Make me roll this again. You're just too popular. Like, people are just buying all your books.
This is my core
Okay.
audience of like 4
Yeah.
people.
They like don't even wait. Okay. Let me make sure I don't see this person, but just in case, Cedric May. I don't see your name. Cedric May. No. Okay, I'm gonna hit it again. I'm gonna hit it again. My
Okay.
goodness. So many drums. Just keep drumming. Just don't stop drumming.
I'm remembering the old fucking Adam West Batman movie where he's just like, some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Yeah, it's true. Joe. Oh my God, I'm always terrified of your last name, Joe. Joe Koch? Coach? Joe?
I believe it's Koch.
Koch, okay. Um, Yay, congrats,
Joe!
Joe. Yay. I'm so sorry, I'm terrified of your name.
Big winner
Okay.
Joe.
Okay.
Awesome.
I've
Could
got your name
honestly
in.
maybe be hand delivered because we live
Oh.
in the same area.
Oh, you do? I didn't realize Joe lived near you.
Oh yeah,
Joe's like, I regret it.
yeah.
I
Joe's like,
wish it wasn't that way. Joe says, I dare you. Now you have to hand deliver it. You have
Yeah, Joe
author
and I
copies
are gonna
on
have
you, so you
to
could,
go out
yeah.
for a beer and I'll give him the book
There you
straight to his
go.
face.
Mm-hmm. Well, congrats, Joe, on winning the first
Yes.
giveaway. Hell yeah, with a side of smokes, of course.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Do they still
So
sell Jarum Blacks?
I
That's what
don't
I
know.
used to
I've never
like when I
smoked in my
was
Did you actually smoke?
off and on. Not seriously though. I was really a hobbyist.
Okay.
I worked
Hobbyist.
at a I worked at a Jack in the Box when I was 18 and they wouldn't give anyone
Damn.
breaks but the smokers, so I
Oh, so
started
you kind of had to
buying.
lie, yeah.
Yeah, so I started like I bought like a fucking corncob pipe with Cavendish and smoked it by the dumpster.
Of course you did.
I
You
had Pall
fucking
Malls.
hipster.
Yeah, it was really
God damn
weird.
it.
Just watching like this greasy kid with a corncob pipe, like Frosty the Snowman, in an apron.
Matt says outside of the punk clubs during the main act because they weren't as cool as the openers.
Oh, dude, you don't even know. Anytime Good Riddance comes to town, we're only there for the openers, man.
All right, we're rolling into the reading, Carson. Are you ready?
Oh God. Oh
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah, are you
Uh.
ready?
Oh shit.
Yeah, hell
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Okay,
Okay.
so Carson is going to read a select part inside the Spectre Not the beginning, although he often makes fun of people for not reading from the beginning of the book, so you all can mock him and or support him as he reads. Do you want to kind
Yeah.
of explain where we're going from?
Yeah, so this is kind of in the early middle part of the book where Steve Calico, the main character's ex, has arrived in Greentree and is kind of closing in on her, while she is at a outdoor party near a cornfield.
Got it. Hit
Uh,
it.
Steve Calico left his car down the twisting road. He was a little drunk, he'd have to admit, but not enough to be wobbly, just brave. He'd found the house easy enough, and he'd gone far enough past it to not make a scene. He didn't want to be noticed, and even now, after traveling cross country, he wasn't sure he actually wanted to do anything. But still, he was here. He parked his car and grabbed two choice items from his trunk, a gun and some rope. Well, I wasn't planning on doing anything sinister, officer. Just wanted to scare her. This woman, no, this bitch tried to just up and leave me. Can you believe that? He practiced the lines in his head, but nothing sounded right. Eventually, he gave up. I guess I'll just have to not get caught. The corn parted ways for him. He dipped in and out of the rows. He thought of how, as a kid, his dad would take him camping. He taught him to follow the stars, skin a deer, stuff most of the other city kids didn't know about. This place might not be so bad after all. He breathed deep, smelling sweet manure, dead leaves, and crisp autumn air. He felt less caged out here, freer than he'd ever been. They were having a party. It was a blip of light in the middle of nowhere. Nothing more than a modest glow, and in it were only a couple dozen people, mulling about in the backyard that might as well have been a field, drinking and talking. He wasn't sure if Carina was there, but he'd promised himself that if she was, there'd be hell to pay. The idea that his wife had moved across the country, out of their shitty apartment, all the way to bumfuck Oregon and managed to get herself a mansion and a bunch of rich friends upset him deeply. His eyes adjusted in the moonlight. He wasn't prepared for the quiet. There was a party over there, probably not more than a quarter mile from him, but any noise was swallowed up by that huge void of the sky. But also it was the wrong kind of silence. It wasn't quiet. There was quiet, but it wasn't quiet as he knew it. There were endless rustlings, strange noises, footsteps. He was sure he heard footsteps, and all of them kept moving. He heard the scratching of vegetation, and it was in one place and then another, but in between each individual noise, and they were all distinct and separate, there was an infinite void of nothing, a screaming nothingness that was as hard to ignore as the orchestra of rustlings. He pushed deeper into the corn, though, his old pistol heavy in his hand. I'm making too much noise, he thought. His steps were thunderous, not too much crunch for a smart tracker. He stopped, listened. Those fucking footsteps. He turned his head. Where the fuck are you? The footsteps continued. Corn stalks pushed each other in the wind, creating a resounding chorus of organic static. There was something out here, he was sure of it. He got low to the ground and army crawled forward, his gun tucked into the back of his jeans. He felt the ground wriggle underneath him, wet with worms and cow shit, probably. He almost gagged, almost screamed at the wriggling, but bit the inside of his cheeks until the urge passed. Okay, fine, good, moving on. He kept crawling, then suddenly stopped. He was getting closer to the party, he thought. He heard voices. You know, we're really not supposed to go into the corn, said the doctor. Carina held a hand up, slipping into her new role. Shh, she said, I hear someone. The doctor paid her no mind. It's dangerous out here, especially if you think something untoward is happening. He's right, you know, they probably just fell down, drunk. They'll wake up and find their way back. Happens all the time. The young man turned the flashlight to mimic her eyeline. I think we should go back. Carina shook her head. I hear something. I think we might be close. The flashlight illuminated a hint of it, its shape, traipsing confidently through the corn. She inhaled slowly, controlled. She was trying to be in control. There, she whispered. It vanished between rows, but for the second she saw it, she was sure it was a man. Or, well, she had to laugh because it didn't seem real. You saw that, right? What? Where? She stopped. This must be a joke. She turned to the other men. Is this a prank? They looked at her with serious eyes. What did you see? Carina turned back toward the rows of corn, puzzled. She didn't want to say it. He was covered in mud and very close. He was so goddamn close. He could smell the bitch. He could smell the men. What the fuck is wrong with this place? Who the fuck are these people? They couldn't see him, thank fuck. He'd been careful, quiet. No one knew shit about where he was because he'd been careful not to let them. He was good like that, being so quiet and careful and all. But now he was thinking about hightailing it out of there, middle fingers to the wind. They were filming her. Not Carina. It would have been okay if it had been Carina somehow. She deserved what she got. But this, tried to make sense of it all. She was nude, her clothes in a pile on the ground. Her head rolled back and forth, and she seemed out of her mind. The men around her were talking, nervously or maybe excitedly, and the woman was tied to a post. A work lamp lit their space, and one of them, perhaps the most fervent of the supporters, held a small camcorder on the woman. Steve Calico didn't dare move a muscle. A man with a ponytail covered his eyes. He wasn't looking at her. In fact, he was trying not to. Are you sure? He asked. One of the other men put a hand on his back, patted him. It'll be all right, Will. It'll be all right. Whatever you need. Time away, help with the youngin', we'll have you. It's just, he sobbed. I know, we know. It's never easy. The man with the camcorder hovered close to her nude body with a voyeur's delight. She's a hot one, he said. I know this isn't the right time to say this, Will, but god damn. The sad man, Will, laughed despite himself. She's pretty, all right. That just makes it all the better, you know. Does it? Oh, yeah, he said, as if that explained everything. What happens out here, what goes down, it's all better with beautiful women. At least it's better for me. The men all chuckled. The woman's eyes opened on the post. Her head rolled back and forth. She blinked. She screamed. The young man turned around, and Carina was left with nothing to say or do in recourse. We're going back. We're not going to find anything out here. The doctor muttered something under his breath. Carina stopped. There's something out here, though. Someone screamed. She was whispering, but her words cut. Don't you care that someone could be hurt? Darling, they're probably back already. If you're concerned, let's call the police. She bit into her lip. All right, fine. Behind her, she heard the sound of laughing men. Her cheeks burned. See, said the young man. Nothing wrong at all. An icy breeze blew through the corn, and the lot of them froze. The woman was still coming to, and she had just realized she was naked. She looked down at her body, and confusion crossed her face. What's going on? She asked. She said it like she was trying to play it cool, as if this wasn't a big deal, as if she didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings by being offended. Is this a joke? She asked weakly. The men stood back, their eyes to the earth. Wilbur? What's happening? Fear cut her voice. Why am I tied up? What did you do to me? You don't have to answer, Will. It's easier that way. Keep your eyes down and everything else will be taken care of. They had to hold his shoulders, but he did as he was told. This is hard, he said. What's wrong? She jabbered. Her words were sharp and jittery. Her eyes were wide and the whites of them glowed in the moonlight. She began to cry. Steve didn't think she was drunk anymore. Adrenaline was racing through her. She struggled against the ropes that tied her down. Camcorder resumed filming if this were the good part, the part he'd come to see. Then, footsteps. Heavy, confident footsteps. Dead corn crunched. There were lots of them, maybe 8 of them hidden in the cornfield. Steve Calico put his hand in his mouth and bit down. He felt them before he saw them. One of them passed by a mere inches from his face. Its soiled denim overalls brushed against his cheek, and he bit down on his hand until blood dribbled down to the tips of his fingers, falling to the earth and mixing with the soil. Oh shit. Stalks swayed in the glow, and as they parted, he could see the one coming out from across the small clearing. It was the first one the woman saw, too. 6 feet tall, adorned in ragged hand-me-downs, straw poked out and spikes where skin should be. Its face was a mask, a face made of bound wheat with two dark holes of infinite black where eyes should be. As it appeared from the shadows into the light, more followed. The woman could not scream. She could not fathom what she was seeing. Her mouth gaped. She tried to force a noise out, and Steve Calico thought about doing something, anything. But instead, he just kept biting his knuckle and wishing desperately for this all to end. God, please make it stop. Please stop and tell her it's a joke and we can all go home. The scarecrow pulled a scythe from his back, releasing it from the long leather strap holding it to his body. And as each of them appeared, approaching the woman, they each readied their weapon. Wilbur cried, sobbed, he averted his eyes. Scarecrows. They're walking scarecrows. That was when Steve Calico couldn't do it anymore. He stood up. His feet sank into the earth below him. The blades flashed through the air. They whistled as they traveled. Jesus. The woman couldn't do anything. She moved impotently beneath her restraints. The first blade caught her in the midsection, in one side and out the other. Its owner pulled on the long crescent, and the woman let out a choking groan as it lifted her flesh. Before she could scream, another scythe stabbed deep into her shoulder blade. It entered and stood proudly from her like a headstone. Blood rolled out of the wound, and this time Steve was sure she would scream. But there was another blade, another hateful swing. Blood bubbled from her neck, and her eyes were those of an animal. She was trying to talk, but the words kept geysering from her throat. The scarecrow stood silent, monoliths in the corn. Blood continued to pour from her wounds. Her body was going into shock. She was pale and speaking softly the language of absolute and eternal nonsense. Why aren't I running? Oh God, he hadn't moved a muscle. Steve Calico felt as frozen and helpless as the girl, and he very much wanted to go. Okay, I'm going to move now. Away from the dying girl, away from the straw man, away from the crying lover, away from the first scarecrow who had swung his scythe horizontal through the woman's stomach, pulled it free with one good yank. The flesh between its entry and exit wounds gave easily. There was a wet sound, a slushing noise, and the woman's babbling ended with her guts unraveling into the earth. When her body went limp, Steve Calico ran. Carina sat on the porch steps. They'd come back to red and blue lights. If something happened here, we'll know about it. That's for goddamn sure. The officer told her to sit down, to relax. He walked across the lawn to the doctor and the young man. Carina saw them laughing together. The air smelled of autumn and something else. Tears welled in her eyes. She could taste it on her lips as the officers went into the corn. She could taste it on the vowels of their party guests. She could see it rimming the moon. It was old and wise and resolute, and she could taste it. She knew it in her bones. Emily was dead, and she could taste the blood. And so it goes, we are fed. When the cold comes, we know it's our turn at the trough, and we give back what we can. We give back food we cannot eat, money we cannot spend, prosperity we do not know. We have toiled in this land forever, and so too does it bleed well. But something in us changes, becomes animal when we see you run. When you run, they say, stop him. So we must. We move together like the blackbirds. We do not feel at home in our bodies, and we likely never will. We itch within their proportions, but alas, we are disciplined. We move as one. Maybe you could learn from us. You run hard, throwing yourself into the dirt, as if getting closer to the earth will save you. It will not. The earth has always been ours. It tells us secrets you cannot fathom. We don't get you at first. Our blades stab short. Your legs work hard to propel you. You scramble across the dirt like a scared rat. You're so used to the bones and meat that are your vessel. Is it like the earth to us, the trees, the cawing of birds, the wetness of blood? To know something so holy, even a body, is to love it. You must love it. Every hair and scrunching muscle, every bead of sweat, every hot breath panting from your lips. If you didn't love it, why would you work so hard to protect it? And it takes us only one drop of your vessel's nectar to realize that the greatest lie ever told was scarcity. Have we ever been so well fed? You are abundant, and we are hungry. We hook you by the heel, and you scream with a mouthful of earth. You kick with your good leg as we pull you between the rows so we can look at you clearly for the first time. You twist around like a worm on a hook, and we see your terror. We are all around you. We will swallow you. You keep squirming, each blade laying claim to your flesh. We are the world's oldest workers, and we are working now. We are dismantling what this earth has grown under our watch. And you taste good, and you are plentiful. And we realize here in the silver light, as the cold wind laps at your exposed wounds, we realize that we do not need to be fed. We can feed ourselves.
Yay! Let's see what our audience has to say. Eric says, decided to read the layman part bold. L, I hope the scarecrow releases hell on this bro. Scarecrow, scarecrow, scarecrow. The summoning did work, L. You did a good job. Careful with how you
Elle,
use
we're
that
all
power.
Team Scarecrow here.
Yeah. Jessica says, gross when a moth gets on my neck during the wiggling worm part. Immersive.
This reading is in 4D.
Yeah, Elle says, someone get revenge on all these bros. Well, you're gonna have to check out the book.
Yep.
Matt loves the line about scarcity.
Thank
And
you, Matt.
everyone's cheering. So it's time for the next giveaway, and then we'll do Q&A so you can ask Carson all your questions. And then at the end we'll do I know we're a little over time. We got very enthusiastic. So we'll do maybe 5 minutes of Q&A, and then
Thank you, Nathaniel.
we'll do the last giveaway, and then we can stay on for more Q&A. I just don't want people to feel like they're going to lose out on the big bundled win.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So Patrick Barb, do you have a copy already? Patrick Barb. P Barb, do you have a copy already? I see you.
This is gonna be really weird if
okay.
okay. P Barb's already covered.
Yeah.
He's got an arc.
You got it, P Barb. Let's see. Drums, everyone. Okay, that was a really slow wheel end. Okay. Is Tom Davies in chat? Tom Davies? I don't see a Tom.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Everyone keep drumming. Do not stop drumming or the scarecrows come.
There. That's right, Patrick. You can break into my home.
Gene H. Gene H. Oh, I see you, Gene. Congrats, Gene.
You're a winner, Gene.
You're a heckin' winner, Gene. Congrats. Okay.
Way to go.
Okay, so now Q&A time. What questions do we have for Carson Scarecrow Orgy winner?
Oh God.
I'll
spoil the third act.
No. I'll start. What are you working on right now?
I have a couple books in the tank. I have a novella called The Corpse Priest that is a Legadian sword and sorcery novella, and then I have a Esperanto folk horror novel called Domo de Cesaro, and I'm currently writing a cyberpunk bear detective novel called Detective Charlie, and it's literally about a sentient bear that is a police detective.
Nathaniel
Nathaniel,
asks,
Corpse
yeah.
Priest is not out yet. I'm still finding a home for it, but hopefully one of these days.
And L, if the Scarecrow were in any punk band, which band would it be?
Oh, probably like Crass or something. I think they would be on the one of those like far left OG punk bands for sure.
Jeff asks, did you research folk horror or is this fuck capitalism first?
Um, no, I did not research folk horror at all. Mostly because like, I've been in the genre for a long time. I know the genre conventions of folk horror, but it was really the heart of it was mostly anxiety and fuck capitalism.
Andy says all cops are bears.
Some
And
cops are bears.
yeah, Chris
Uh,
says assigned Barrett birth.
okay. Wait, no, I think that's I think he's doing an ACAB joke.
Yeah,
All
isn't it
bears
like
are
assigned?
bastards.
Oh, that's what that is.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Um, maybe Leftover Creek adds Matt.
Leftover crack.
Oh,
That's kind of a
oh,
crusty-ish
Creek. I don't know
band.
why I like because I don't have my glasses on.
Bear.
Um,
There we go.
Barristers. Yep, yep. And then Leftover Crick, a bit
Yeah.
more countrified. Yeah,
Yeah, they
listen,
got
I
a
try.
steel pedal guitar or something in there.
Okay, for me, when you wrote Spectre, what do you hope readers will take away from it?
I mean, I hope they honestly just have a good time. Like this is of all my books, this is probably like the most straightforward and commercial. This is just kind of a fun romp despite some of the heavier themes in it. It was kind of written to be like a my typical themes through an 80s horror lens. So I hope people just kind of enjoy it, can sit back and devour it in a day or something, but maybe also feel like a little bit of recognition in themselves and the characters and stuff like that.
Matt asks, why did you want to have a video store be in this?
Okay, so this is actually kind of interesting, I guess, to me alone. But one of the other influences of this book was that when I was kind of first writing more, I had this like 10,000 word story that was written in response to one of my coworkers at the grocery store I worked at being rumored to have a really giant dick. And that was just like a rumor. And we I started making jokes with him because it was just something we would talk about, his giant dong, and I would say, "Oh
As
yeah,
one does.
I heard rumors that like they were worshiping you as like a fertility god in certain sects or something." And I was like making jokes about like putting like the Blair Witch like stick, but with like an extra stick where his dick would be. And that was like that was the beginning of a news story where it didn't come together. It was kind of a bad story, but one of the characters was like a kind of this big dick hayseed that was hired at this rural video store, that kind of acted as like the catalyst to the rest of the story. And when I was writing Greentree, I kind of really liked that subplot of having like this kind of spooky small town video store that was still around and just kind of the potential there. So I deleted the big dick friend from the equation and incorporated it into Greentree.
Okay, are you ready for the final giveaway?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Also, Patrick Barb says all cops are bears, so it's a Tom of Finland book.
Okay.
And also adds didn't come together.
Oh man, Patrick's
As
just like
expected
going
from P
off.
Barb. He's on, yeah, he's going off.
He put the kids to bed and he's just going, man.
Okay, are we ready? This is for the big bundle. This
This
is
is like
all the books plus the patch.
That's right, guys. If it doesn't go to you, it's going in a landfill. That's
Yep.
how indie publishing works.
And the winner, oh man, okay. Let's see if I can pronounce this right the first time. Arwin Sherman?
I see an Arwen
Arwin,
Sherman right here.
yeah. Arwen, congrats!
Big winner.
Yay! So you get the whole bundle and the patch. Congrats. Hell yeah. Gonna write down your name. Again, I will contact the winners after the event with the emails you used to register, and then put you in contact with Carson, who will get you your books and your bundles. Yay!
Hell yeah, I will.
Hell yeah. So if you do have to drop off, totally understand we're a little over, but if you have any more questions for Carson, like feel free. Again, I am the real winner for saying it properly. Thanks for
Joseph, have a
joining us,
wonderful night.
Joseph. Yeah. So I will post if you didn't win, be sure to check it out, order the book. Jeff wants to know approximate length. At least 6 inches, baby. 12 inches, says Matt.
Let me see. 151 pages. I think it's about maybe like 42,000 words or so.
Yeah. I think I managed to read it in one sitting, actually, when I
Yeah,
was
it's a
flying back from
quickie.
Stoker. Yeah. Thanks, Eric. Thanks for coming. And happy birthday again.
Great seeing you, Eric.
Okay,
Matt,
any
12 inches, very
yeah, 12
aspirational.
inches. Very, yeah. Um, Jeff says, how closely do you follow the structure, length, or format of an 80s horror thriller?
Um, I would say I used it as a starting point, but then I kind of changed it up because I do believe, well, I guess this is kind of a spoiler because I just read it, is that typically kind of the sadistic like bad guy shit would like the sadistic X thing would be the central antagonist for the end of the book, but I kind of do it's a midway point twist, kind of a soft twist where he kind of gets killed fairly early on because I just didn't think he was really worth being like the antagonist. So I used it as a starting point, but I subverted it when I could.
Elle says aspirational would be French pole vaulter.
I haven't seen that
Silly.
video yet,
Oh
though.
my
I'm
god,
gonna
it's
have to look it
everywhere.
up.
How have you not seen it?
Is it like
Dude,
is it a
his
noticeable
dick,
penis?
yes, his dick knocks that pole off. You can see they have it slow mo, and like you see like the pole
Patrick.
is here, and like you see his penis go bloop.
Oh my God. I want to see this this dick. Okay, I'm gonna have to watch it with my wife.
Yeah, his penis is why he didn't clear the pole. I also
Wow.
I cannot confirm that this is absolutely true, but I saw an article saying that um OnlyFans reached out to him saying that he should make an account or something, like an OnlyFans account because of, yeah, Matt says they zoom in and slow it down. It's absolutely true. Oh, so Elle, you
Wow.
saw it, right? Like I didn't make that up. Jeff says, do the scarecrows stay as a nameless collective, or is there a named Dracula of the scarecrow?
There isn't a Dracula scarecrow. It is they do remain a nameless collective, and that was by design. I kind of felt like to give the scarecrows an identity, especially as workers, I wanted them to remain a collective and present themselves as kind of like that in the first person plural.
So we do need you to click on that link and react in real time.
Hmm.
That's the gif of the pole vaulting.
Yeah,
So if
let's
you
do
could,
it.
yeah, keep your face on cam, get the little beer foam off your mustache, pretty yourself up. There we go. Yeah, we like that.
Okay, okay. I gotta watch this a couple more times.
Yeah, you gotta just have it on
Oh
repeat.
wow,
Well, you're
okay.
leaning in. You're ready for this.
Yeah, can I get
You're like,
closer? Damn, dude.
yeah, yeah. You think he would have to strap that down if he was gonna continue competing or something?
Dude, I don't even know what to say. Like, I guess is this good or bad for him? That's what I want to know.
Well, I feel like he didn't win.
Yeah, that is true, but he's got
Yeah,
like everyone talking about like his
that's
big old
true.
dong now.
Yeah. Elle says, yeah, I mean, learn to talk,
Yeah, that's
sir.
true.
Yeah. What Jeff says French dicula. And
Genius, Jeff.
Nathaniel asks, but are there werewolf scarecrows?
Not yet. There
Not
could
yet.
be,
Yeah.
there could be a green tree too. I don't know.
Hmm. Matt says, I mean, running and jumping with that is like doing it with 10 extra pounds. Yeah, I think he misunderstood when they said pole vaulting. He was like, so I bring an additional pole? Wasn't.
I feel like now this is like a great excuse though for guys to like opt out of pole vaulting with their
Oh
friends.
yeah,
Like,
my
you know,
dick's too big.
dick's
Yeah.
too big, guys. I just can't do it, man.
I just keep hitting that pole, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Pole on pole action.
Pole on pole action. I know one cardboard bed is
Love
in
it.
the Olympic Village that had its work cut out for it from Andy. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, was there another massive dick, L? Oh my God, I'm glad
Him
that
and one
you're
of the French,
our
yeah. Elle knows,
dick
Elle has a
chronicler of the
catalog,
Olympics.
yeah. She she has a catalog going on. There was a whole article about the two of them. You know what Olympic sport they should have been in together?
What?
Sword fighting.
Oh yeah,
But
fencing. Yeah, great. Yep. That's great.
haha. All right, Carson, are you ready to wrap the reaping?
Yep, I think we're good.
All right.
Although I do
Thank
love talking about dicks with all you guys.
Yeah, yeah. Remember, if you want to talk more dicks, you
Yeah.
can follow Carson on Twitter or Instagram. It's all here. You know, send him some eggplant emojis after the event. Winners, I will be emailing you shortly, if not today, then tomorrow. Get you your prizes. And thank you so much, everyone, for attending. It means everything that you come and join us and come and join us, you know, and come and join us for events with Carson Winter. And congrats, Carson, on your newly released book, A
Aw,
Spectre
thank
is Haunting
you.
Greentree. Congrats. And until the next Plim Talks event, you can satiate yourself by listening to the Dead Languages podcast.
Yeah. Keep edging, homies.
Yeah. And I'll share my YouTube channel here. That's where you can check out any of my other launch events or rewatch this one if you really just want to hear us talking about dicks again, over and over
Yeah.
again. Okay. Love you guys. Bye.
Love you guys. Thanks for coming.